Oh, hello from Lisbon. I'm enjoying a lovely little holiday here, but just before I set off, I did a feature for the Press Association just about how I live my life barefoot and go about London and everything. And you might have seen already, some of you, that the Daily Mail were the first to snap it up, and I was a bit disappointed that it was them because, well, I think you know how I feel about the Daily Mail, but it did have the upside of the guarantee that the comment section would be absolutely hilarious, and it hasn't disappointed. I've read through some of them already, and I thought it would be fun just to go through them each one by one and address some of these views of these Daily Mail keyboard warriors.
Why doesn't he just buy decent leather shoes and wash his socks and feet daily? It's not like the pavements are clean. Well, I do wash my feet daily, and the reason I don't like to buy shoes at all or wear them is because my feet get really hot. If you cover them up, they get hot, and that's what makes them sweat, and when the sweat can't go away, that's what makes them sweat more, and then they end up getting horrible and smelly. The pavements aren't clean, you're right, but they're only about as dirty as the inside of shoes, really. And I wash my feet daily, so my feet end up a lot cleaner for it. Why not flip-flops? First of all, surprisingly, they don't actually solve the heat problem very well, because when the sole is covered and the air isn't circulating around them all the time, they're still going to get quite hot, and it's just annoying having some flimsy little thing strapped to your foot all the time. But there's another much bigger problem for me in particular, because wearing flip-flops means keeping your feet in a rigid position, using them in a way that stops the flip-flops falling off, which is really bad for my joints. One of the main benefits, other than not feeling too hot, of not wearing shoes is that I can use all the individual bones and muscles in my feet, there are plenty of them, to do their little jobs and move in a very efficient way, and that stops me putting unnecessary stress on my joints, which for me can easily trigger inflammation, but actually is pretty healthy for anybody. Why isn't this the top story? I don't know. Maybe because it's the female section and I shouldn't really count as female. Well, he is a QPR fan. Explains a lot? I don't know. I'm the only QPR fan I know who does this. I only take jobs where I don't have to wear shoes. That's a novel excuse for staying on benefits. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not on benefits. All the money I spend is money that I've been paid directly for people in return for things I do that they find useful. But everything I've heard about benefits is that they don't take any excuses for anything most of the time. Ah, the joys of warm dog poo squelching through your liberated tootsies. Do you recommend it then? Because I don't. I mean, I like mud, but I'm not sure about dog poo. I basically do the same as anybody else would, with shoes on or not. You don't want to step on it, you watch out for it and you avoid it. It's very easy. Goes to pub, goes to men's toilet, equals pee all over the floor. Nice. Yeah, it's not very nice, but then it's not very nice getting your shoes soaked in piss either. The difference for me is a few minutes later, I've wiped it off by walking elsewhere and having it replaced with other dirt, or it's evaporated, and of course next time I have a shower everything gets completely cleaned. Someone with shoes on instead would get their shoes soaked in piss, and it would probably stay there for quite some time. I wouldn't call that very nice either. His feet look filthy. Yeah, they do get a bit dirty, and then I wash them afterwards. If he drives a car, is it illegal to do so with bare feet? Well, first of all, I don't drive a car. I have a history of epilepsy and even had a seizure about 6 months or so ago, so I've never driven a car. But I can tell you it's not illegal. I can even put a link in the description to a page where it says so. I wear 3 sizes bigger than my normal size, and that puts an end to sweaty and smelly feet, plus a bonus comfort. If I did that, my feet would be slipping around in the shoes, and that wouldn't be especially comfortable. I'd be far more likely to get blisters, unless I wore extra pairs of socks for cushioning, and then I'd just get really hot again. And I'd also have the other problems with my joints that I'd much rather avoid. I can't speak for everyone. I'm sure there are lots of people who find shoes really comfortable, but I'm not one of them. Could you not wear flip-flops or something? Dog poo feet, flip-flops, flip-flops, flip-flops. Yeah, I've already addressed those. I'm hiding behind my pillow reading this knowing full well at some point I'm going to see his feet. Vom! Well, you've probably already seen them in the photos. Sorry about that. Someone will step in your toes. Okay, I imagine you mean on your toes. It does happen. It's annoying. It hurts for about a second and then it stops hurting. And once I discovered colourless top coat for my nails, I don't have to worry about having to repaint every time I get trodden on. What a prat. Okay. Scruff. Sure. So he's unemployed then? No, I'm self-employed and doing very well, thank you very much. Cute. If he's not hurting anyone, so let him do what he wants. Yep, I say that about everybody else too, thank you. Taking the tube with no shoes on? Nope, nope, nope. I won't make you. I hated wearing shoes also until I found Vivo Barefoot. Tried the 5-finger shoes but found them restrictive as your foot has to conform to the foot glove shape. I would never in a million years go barefoot like this dude. Glass stuck in my foot even once a year doesn't sound appealing at all. That's your choice, but for me, it doesn't matter what they call them. Shoes are shoes, and I'm happy without them. Looks like he needs a good wash. Yes, and I've had one since. Maybe he didn't like washing his feet, that's why they were smelly. Now he has an excuse not to. Weirdo. No, the reason they were smelly is because they'd been stuck in his shoes for too long. In Canada, he wouldn't be able to. This in winter. Wow. That may be true. I don't know. I've never been anywhere as cold as it gets in Canada. But I can say that if it was so cold that I couldn't go barefoot, it would also be cold enough that I would be okay wearing shoes. So I would call that a win anyway. I wouldn't want him walking on my carpets. Wear flip-flops. Okay, I won't walk on your carpets. Top news. Man goes barefoot, bit like our ancestors 1,000 years ago. Well, in fairness, this is just a peripheral section of the website. I don't think they're claiming it's the biggest story. Doggy do. Yeah, and I bet you don't step in it either. Wear flip-flops. Shan't. Enjoy standing and spit and chewing gum and all the other nasties. Then go home and stick your mucky paddles all over the tables and your couch. Lovely. I know me for one will never go to that guy's house or ever invite someone to mine who won't wash their mucky flappers. Okay, you don't have to come to my house. I didn't have to go to yours, but I'm pretty sure every table at every house I've visited has been safe from any dirt that I may have stepped in. I do know how to use a shower. You can have Botox for excessive underarm sweating, so you can probably do that for excessive foot sweating as well. My feet don't sweat any more than anybody else's. The only difference is they get hotter than everybody else's. When they've got shoes on, sweating doesn't work, so they will carry on doing it. Maybe he walks on his hands. Yes, and maybe I can fly. Who knows? C. What's that? Speed of light? Or the integration constant? Don't know. Anyway, hello. That's interesting. But why does he not do something against his excessively sweating feet? I mean, there is lots of stuff you can do against that. My dad, for example, uses cedarwood inserts and they saved his life. And I don't know how anyone ever died from sweating too much unless they lived in a really, really hot climate and couldn't get access to water. No, it's not the sweating that's the problem. It's the heat that's the problem and the sweat having nowhere to go. Have a bath, that will sort your smelly feet, and wash your hair while you're at it. I don't know how his girlfriend can sit near those trotters. Absolutely rotten and so unhygienic walking around the house with those filthy feet. Yes, or how about just not letting your feet get smelly inside shoes in the first place? Let me guess, he's a vegan too. No, absolutely not. I'm pretty much carnivorous, to the point where my doctor's telling me I have to cut back on a lot of meat. I'd be worried about hookworm, tapeworm and the like. You're from the United States, maybe hookworm is a thing there. It isn't in Europe. As I understand it, you're in more danger of hookworm if it gets into your shoe, where it's then got plenty more time to have a really good attack at you. Whereas if you're walking around barefoot and you happen to step on a hookworm, your next step is going to brush it off just as easily before it can do any real damage. Tapeworm, I think, has to be ingested, and I don't think shoes have any bearing on what you do or don't eat. So yeah, I'm not worried about either. I hope he does not step on broken bottles, chewing gum, dog's poop, used needles, or drawing pins. Or Lego! Okay, I don't step on broken bottles. I do walk through broken glass, and it's very, very rarely an issue. The amount of broken glass I've walked through compared to the odd tiny bit I have to pick out my foot very, very occasionally is huge, actually, and it doesn't affect me. Chewing gum, I have stepped on chewing gum. It's a bit annoying. Dog's poo, no. You don't want to step on it in shoes. I don't want to step on it in bare feet. I don't know why people bring it up as if it's special just for me. Used needles. I have never, ever seen a used needle left lying around in the street, and certainly never come close to stepping on one. drawing pins. Again, drawing pins don't just get left lying around. Lego, I have stepped on it and it's absolutely no issue at all. It's nothing. Stepping on Lego is nothing. If you really want to cause yourself pain stepping barefoot on something, the thing to go for would be an upturned mains plug. That I absolutely would not recommend for anybody. I'm not house proud, but I wouldn't welcome him as a visitor. Okay, that's okay. I have no ambition to visit every house there is. Massive infection waiting to happen, especially if he becomes diabetic. Then a paper cut on his toe can be a death sentence. Use antifungal spray, baby powder and get some quality shoes. Don't wear the same pair every day, switch between at least 3 pairs. If sweating is that much of an issue, use deodorant spray to keep it dry. If that does not work, go and see a podiatrist or a plastic surgeon to inject Botox in your feet to stop the sweating completely. That sounds an awful ordeal to give you a partial solution to a very simple problem. The problem is shoes. And I've sorted it out very, very easily. This massive infection has been waiting a very long time. It's been waiting 15 years already. If I become diabetic, I'll worry about that then. But you're from New York, so maybe it's just almost a given that everyone becomes diabetic eventually there. Who knows? Also, in time, as he ages and bone loss naturally begins, he's going to eventually have pain from walking on flat, hard surfaces with no support. Quite the opposite, actually. Just as people go to the gym to work hard to build up their strengths in their bodies, I'm going to be doing the same. I think you've got it backwards. I haven't taken milk in my coffee in over 20 years. You know, when everybody responds that way, then the world will be a better place. Gross. If he hadn't worn shoes for 4 years, his feet would have spread out and been rock hard with dried up skin on the bottom. Well, my skin is quite tough, but I certainly wouldn't call it rock hard. It's quite thick, but it's still fairly flexible in order to be able to accommodate things I step on. There is some hard skin on my heels, but it's not excessive. I'm wondering where you're getting your information from. At least wear sock man. Well, no, I would just ruin them, and they wouldn't do very much for me, and they would just still go quite some way to keeping the heat in. Quirky? No, you're an attention-seeking, tight-fisted fool. What if someone stands on your feet? They would be constantly filthy too. He sounds like a tightwad who doesn't want to pay for shoes and socks. I don't think people would get filthy just from standing on my feet. To stand on my feet, you have to get quite close to me. As somebody else has pointed out, I do have quite a big belly, so that's very, very unlikely. I get trodden on very rarely. It hurts a tiny bit for a very short amount of time, and then I forget about it very quickly. Attention is nice. I do find it useful, but as I say, in an ideal world, no one would pay any attention to this at all, because it would be a free choice that anybody would make without raising an eyebrow. Shower every day, wash your feet, wear clean 100% cotton socks. Problem solved. No, that's not going to stop my... Disgusting. This guy needs to scrub his fungal feet. They're crapping between his toenails, for God's sake, man. No, I've got no fungal infections or bacterial or viral on my feet for that matter, because I don't wear shoes, so that there isn't a real opportunity for microbes to build up and get to work on my feet for an extended period of time. There is a bit of dark paint on my nails. Maybe you're confusing that with dirt. He has a girlfriend? So it appears, but just look at her. Well, I do, pretty much constantly, and I'm very happy for it. Disgusting. They must smell even worse now. He wouldn't get past my front door. Really, they don't smell very much at all. Just the same as other people's shoes. I mean, the outside of other people's shoes do. And that smell only lasts until my next shower. He doesn't go to busy pubs then. How the heck does he manage at busy football grounds? His feet must get trodden on all the time. Oddball. Well, I do go into busy pubs. I just don't go into them when there are people on the door deciding who gets to go in and who doesn't. And it's just because they can't afford to be seen by their employers not doing their jobs in case they get sacked for not being thorough enough. So I've got a bit of sympathy for them. But there are plenty of busy pubs I walk into, and Not getting trodden on is actually easier than having people accidentally barge into you and spilling your drinks, for example. Really not as difficult as you might think. Football grounds, it is the same. When I do get trodden on, it's not the nicest thing in the world, but it's a feeling that lasts for all of a second, and then I've forgotten about it. OMG, you can pick up so many nasty foot infections walking barefoot in public. Very dangerous and frankly dumb. Maybe, if you're really trying, if you cut your feet and expose them to everything you can find and deliberately don't wash them and put shoes on as well to give the infections a really good chance to do a lot of damage to your feet, yes, you could do that. I, on the other hand, have been going barefoot for over 15 years and I haven't picked up a nasty foot infection or even a mild foot infection yet. There are too many bodily fluids on the streets in large cities for this to be safe. Well, in your estimation, how long do you think it will be before someone gets a nasty infection? Daily hygiene action seems to be the problem rather than walking bare feet. I can see a pair of trainers in the blue plastic bag too. I bet you he's originally from Devon or Cornwall before ending up in Kensington. It's such a confused country bumpkin thing to do. No, I'm actually from down the road in Ealing, just a few stops away on the tube. I hope he doesn't come to Paris, or he might walk on someone's dog present barefoot. I don't know what you're saying about the people of Paris and their ability to avoid stepping in dog poo. It's not very polite. Fortunately, I have been to Paris and I've seen they're just as capable of avoiding it as we are.
There was also a really good video feature actually that was published at the same time on Yahoo, so I'm going to include a link to that down there. But yeah, in the meantime, I want to apologise for being absent for so long. I just haven't been to many away games. I haven't had opportunities to do any new content or that many good ideas, in fact. And my life's been great. I'm doing very well. But it's nice to have a reason to talk to you again. So anyway, I hope that was as funny for you as I found it at the time reading it. And maybe I'll see you all again soon. Cheers.